Are you ready to gab with Hales Reeves and Leon Wilson? Gabbing.
This week, or was it late last week? No, it's this week. Still, the CEO of United was killed in broad daylight, New York.
Murdered.
I want to talk about this because
we must, because I want to talk about it.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about. After he was killed, the shareholders meeting still happened, and within an hour, his job was posted on LinkedIn. So I don't want anyone to come at me being like, "Don't make jokes about this person who's died, etc." When the people he was working for didn't even give a fuck.
His boss didn't even give a fuck.
This guy, if you want to talk about don't make fun of the fact that he died or make a joke about it. This guy is the reason why people couldn't get cancer treatment.
Yeah, we're cool with people being murdered on a grand scale by insurance companies.
It's everyday people versus the rich.
Yeah. And also just the relationship between just these between poor bitches just being obsessed with billionaires, and it's y'all really are drinking the Kool-Aid.
It's so embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's the most pick-me shit I've ever seen in my life. Also, take another step further, celebrities. I mean, I don't people being obsessed with celebrities. I get it. I guess. I've been obsessed with celebrities before, but it's these bitches do not give a fuck about you. Oh. I have met celebrities, and they don't care as long as you're giving them $1. Mm-hmm. All they really want is your money.
Yeah. And so do we. But it's different.
And so do we. But in a more equitable way.
They found the shooter's backpack in Central Park. It had the jacket he was wearing, and it also had a bunch of Monopoly money in it. Which is very
the new Zodiac killer.
Yeah. It's very fascinating to me. But the thing that I really want to touch on is there's so many things with this story. The thing that I find most interesting is cops being kind of turned on by it. Have you heard these stories about cops are describing this crime in a very erotic way? And it's almost like the call is coming from inside the house. Of course, ACAB, we've talked about this, but
yeah,
the way that these cops are so intrigued by this killer and so impressed by him, it's kind of we'll suck his dick then.
Yeah.
Get on your knees and suck his dick then. Because the way that, I don't know, I would just like to think that there are some police officers that are 100%, 100,000% gay, and this crime opens up their eyes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I really, really, really hope. Because also the shooter was hot, or the prospective shooter, or whatever that photo was. But yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's always that thing of it's kind of, I think it's just how the compulsive heteronormativity of the world. This is the only thing that really gets them off is this cat and mouse chase.
Yeah.
Instead of chasing tail, you're chasing a criminal. It's also that thing of when you take a date to an arcade and they're better at something than you, and you're this competitiveness, the sexual tension that comes from competition.
Yeah.
And dominance. I think especially with the NYPD, it's this dominating thing of I want to dominate.
Not only that, the killer is making them their sub because they can't figure it out, and they're so turned on by it.
Well, also another thing I would like to add is wow, what a huge failure of the surveillance state.
Oh yeah.
Giant failure, because it's we got this guy on camera multiple times and bitches still can't figure it out.
No, and honestly, I hope he's the Dillinger of our time, except there's more planes, if you catch my drift.
And he doesn't get caught.
Never.
But
he restores balance. I think he's our Robin Hood.
And I think there was someone on the internet who said, what if people stop shooting up schools and start shooting CEOs? Oh no.
What if?
Wink. Channel your energy. Where I'm always thinking about how I'm channeling my energy.
Which I might.
Channel your energy into a bullet. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not saying that I agree.
Anyway.
We both knowingly looked at each other.
Transitioning away from that, I also...
Did you say that because I'm trans?
Transitioning? Don't think about it.
Pause. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I want to ask you something regarding astrology. Because I'm a Scorpio. If you did not know me, if we were not such good friends, how would you feel about Scorpios?
I knew immediately that you were a Scorpio when I first met you. 1. 2, no, I actually love Scorpios. Well, I don't know. I used to fear them. I used to fear Scorpios because Scorpios can be very intimidating. Scorpios are very strong. Scorpios are very reserved. They can be reserved unless you have some other things moving around. And bitches say it how it is. So Scorpios actually used to really scare me because I always thought that everybody hated me, but that was actually just me thinking that. Now I'm like, if I meet a Scorpio, I know we're going to have a good time. And also, I found out that one of the most compatible signs with Virgo is Scorpio.
Yeah.
And that slays.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have a Scorpio sun. What's your top 3?
I'm a Scorpio sun, a Cancer moon,
Sad.
Virgo rising.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I actually love my placements. I think they make perfect sense for me.
Yes, but as this Cancer moon, you little emo baby.
Yeah, it's hard.
You little emo baby.
I would like to describe myself as a bullet-covered cherry, like a bullet-covered, chocolate-covered cherry.
Yes.
Because of my Scorpio and my Virgo placement, I am very guarded. I definitely have a wall up. My sincerest apologies to anyone that has to socialize with me. I know it's got to be rough. It's hard for me too, but I think it's harder for everyone else because I definitely have the biggest wall. But inside, I'm mush. I'm just a cherry floating in sugary stacked fluid.
You're a Queen Anne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Messy as fuck inside. Goopy.
I think that's what you have to do when you're goopy is you have to have that hard exterior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what develops. On account of your gushiness, you must develop a thick exterior to protect yourself. But what's beautiful is when you recognize that the safety actually comes from within yourself and you don't have to protect. Actually, other bitches don't.
I'm not there yet in therapy. No spoilers.
I know, and I'm sorry. Okay, no spoilers. No spoilers, please. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not saying I'm great at it, but I will say life different, especially because I'm like on this like ugly crusade where I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I surely don't. I bleached my eyebrows and I went to work and everyone had something to say about it. And you know what I said? I surely don't give a fuck about any of your opinions because do you want me to read you guys? You want me to really talk about your fucking shit, huh? Bitches?
Leon, I wrote down out caring about coworkers' vibe/opinion of you.
Yes. Because, bitch, the only thing that I'm supposed to be doing here is collecting a check.
Yes.
Yes.
I reached this point with my job that there are so many like passive aggressive people I work with on a day-to-day basis that at the end of the day I'm kind of like, dang, I'm sorry you're carrying that. Like I'm just showing up and some days I do my work, some days I like block it. And some days are a little harder for me. You know, I'm figuring shit out in my brain. I'm not gonna be perfect every day. But the people who freak out at work or are sassy or are rude, I just kind of had this epiphany where I'm like, y'all, you don't get paid extra for that. And the fact that you think it's necessary to be an adult, to be in a place that's not your home, and to be acting this way, that's, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry you feel like that's necessary. I'm just here. I'm going to respond to the emails that don't piss me off so much. I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm going to get my check. I'm just go the fuck home and I'm not going to think about you. The way that I know. You know how like you can tell that there are people that are like pissed off by you and by your existence, and you're like, man, you probably think about me all the time.
And you know what? That's your fucking problem.
That's for you to carry.
You not liking me is your goddamn fucking problem. I surely cannot give a fuck.
I feel this specifically for coworkers. I think it gets a little more complicated outside of the work environment, but like contained inside a work environment, like we're already giving too much to a capitalistic society. Like that's already going against the mark for us. The fact that you're like not only giving this society like your time and effort and energy and like part of your life, like you're also like stressing yourself out for no reason. Like I really wish we could all dissociate at work and just like go home when we need to and not worry about our interdynamics because it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Because it doubles down the faith of like people spend more time with their coworkers than their family, and I don't think that's right. And to like worry about the dynamics of your coworkers more than your family, it like affirms capitalism in my mind.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, because the only thing that I need to do is show up and shut the fuck up. And you know what you could do? You could do the same. And it's also interesting because, I mean, I find that there's a lot of people who find work as respite from their shitty home lives, their shitty families, the people that they don't like, which is usually their children. So, like, it's really interesting for somebody to, like, come to work and then be a fucking bitch. It's like, listen, I do not give a fuck, and I will make your life worse. Yeah. And it's really nice because, personally, for me, I now have this in all of my life. Like, I used to just be at work, but now it's like throughout my entire life, and it sucks because it's like I'm lonely. But bitch, I'd rather be alone than hang out with a bitch who does not like me or who sucks. Mm-hmm. But then you take it like, but further to use compassion. Obviously, these people don't suck. Obviously, these people have their own bullshit that they're then throwing onto me. But it's like, I understand your feelings, but I'm not going to support the behavior of you being a fucking ass to me. When I'm just showing up to do my job, I'm just showing up to do my set, I'm just showing up to hang out, and you're being a bitch.
All of that, like, attitude is just, like, oil slick off of me. Water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
And, like, truly, like, if you have a coworker that, like, really pisses you off and gets under your skin, as soon as you tell yourself in your head, like, wow, they don't get paid extra for that, but they're still doing it, it immediately gives you perspective of, like, you're above that. Like, you're not even going to give an attitude back because, like, guess you're not getting paid extra for it. And it just takes energy from you. So that's on you if you want to be, like, cranky that you have an ugly husband at home and ugly kids at home and you do this. That's not on me. Sorry, I got this baby behind me.
Right, which is a lovely, beautiful little pit bull baby. Hello.
I have a precious
I just want to say, she is a precious moment angel. I have a coworker who's like 20 years old. I'm 28, right? And I discussed this earlier with you off air, but it was like, she's 20, she's married, she got married at like 18, like all these things. And we talk shit to each other. That's how we have fun. That's how we connect. But the shit talking has taken a new level because the other day she said, at least I don't have AIDS.
Do you?
Yes. To which then I said, well, you know, I've had friends die of AIDS. And then she shut the fuck up. She got really quiet. But it was really interesting because, well, one, I've never had a friend die of AIDS. That was a lie.
That, like, when we were talking about the other episode about, like, Gen Z does not give a fuck. Like, Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Gen Z doesn't give a fuck. Gen Alpha doesn't give a fuck.
They're bringing back the R word. They're saying...
Absolutely. It is prevalent. Well, I can't say that it's just Gen Z because there is someone my age at work that also uses the R word in the back. It's just service. I live in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm in a red state. We're in the service industry. It's interesting because no one's doing cocaine, but we're using the R word. That's interesting to me. Interesting. Because when I was in the service industry in Chicago, yeah, of course bitches were doing uppers. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I remember being a host, and the waitresses at this one restaurant I worked at would like trade 8 balls or like give each other 8 balls by hiding it in my host stand. So that way it looks like they're just coming up to me to like look at how many tables there are in their rotation, but really they're like reaching under the desk and grabbing an 8 ball and then like leaving.
Whatever happened to privacy?
Yes. Okay.
What
So that
happened to
brings me to my thing of,
privacy?
like,
These bitches don't need to know anything about me.
making my next in like my focus right now is making moves in silence. I think making moves in silence is the move for me. It's what I'd be doing right now.
That's what you be doing, yeah.
Because it's something that makes me really sick and like nauseous and not well is contributing towards an ego economy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean by ego economy?
I think there are times in your life where you feel like you're on top of the world and you're feeling yourself, you're doing your thing, and I'm all for that. I am. I think right now I'm having like a really withdrawn ego death where it's not just like a shroom trip and like ego death moment. It's like I feel an ego death for months and months on end, and I'm still in it. And so I'm at the stage of my ego death where I have a really hard time with other people really wearing their ego on their sleeve in community spaces. And it's just I've just reached a point where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to fight it. I'm not even going to think about it. I'm so far removing myself from the people who are in that phase of their life that I'm really on a hiatus. Or I want to be with friends that I feel like are on the same wavelength, Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to be around chillness right now.
Which it sounds like your values have changed. Do you know what I mean? Like what you used to value.
And you know what? They might change again.
Maybe, they always will. That's
maybe
like
I'll
what's
pop
beautiful.
off in the spring, and then I'll be the one wearing my ego on my sleeve. I think we all have phases of it, but I think now I'm like doing a really drawn out ego death where I'm being a hermit about it. To be honest.
Yeah, it actually really does sound like you're leveling up, and I think also like some people would also qualify that for themselves as like a spiritual awakening or just like an awakening of self. And a lot of people who have that kind of like, or a lot of people in like the spiritual community, whatever, are now saying like that's not in alignment with me or it is in alignment with me, which sounds honestly utterly faggy. But I will say that it's like it's nice because it removes like good and bad because it's like I'm not here to judge you, bitch. Well, maybe I am a little bit. I'm not gonna tell you about it, but I was like, I'm not here to judge you, but I will say that like I don't fuck with that.
Yeah.
I fully do not fuck with that, whether it be behavior or whatever. So yeah, bitch, you just stepping it. You were literally stepping it. You were on your stepper.
Before I would experience ego death, but like I would still spend time with these folks, or I would be like exposing myself to them more, and then I would spend more time alone recovering from it and getting bothered by it and internalizing it and like thinking about like how why some people make me feel really bad and like why that lingers and sticks around. And now I've reached a point where I'm like, oh, just cut it off completely from the source.
I think there's a fear of doing that, like that fear of lack, like, oh fuck, if I cut this off, then maybe I won't get this opportunity or that's connected to this person, or maybe I won't be, have a relationship like this ever again. But yeah, I've also had to do the same thing where it's like, no, I'm fully cutting off my energy from this because I know there are 8 billion bitches on this earth. Hello? There are 10 billion experiences that I can experience.
Yeah.
I don't have to do it wading in the shit waters with you, bitch. Remember an in and out for me.
Yeah.
I think, well, maybe I said this last week, but it's just like, out is just giving more of a fuck about other people than myself. In is really living in my ego, which isn't even ego. It's really not ego. It's just like centering myself instead of centering people outside of me.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
And if everybody did that, Think about where the world would be.
Think about the efficiency.
Think about the ego economy then. I'd be
Think about
dead.
the synergy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that goes back to what we were talking about of like emotional picket lines of like when you recognize something just isn't doing good for you, create like an emotional picket line in your head and just don't cross it. Just don't. You can find other alternatives. Be creative. Yeah. Something that I'm really trying to emphasize moving forward is in building your own family and out not putting up with certain family members anymore. And I think like to emphasize like the building your own family, like I've been estranged from both my parents for years now, and I think for the longest time I've always associated like, well, if I'm estranged from my dad, that means I have to be estranged from my uncle, his brother, and like now I'm trying to enter the mindset of like that doesn't inherently have to be true. Like I can be estranged from my dad, but still have like a familial relationship with my uncle and my cousins because just because they're related to him doesn't mean that they are him. And same thing for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like I feel like there are some good eggs in families sometimes, but like truly if you have I guess every family is different. I don't know, but like to me it makes complete sense to me that if you have someone in your family who is a complete fucking jerk or has completely different values from you, like I understand we're all not going to be like carbon copies, but like if you have, especially now, if you have such staunch Republican, like transphobic, homophobic, like xenophobic people in your family, like there's no more excuses. How could you be making space for someone like that?
Yeah.
And like no, like anyone in my family who exhibits that behavior for me is cut off. I can't make space for you because you're saying to me that the people who I love most in the world don't deserve what we all deserve. You know?
Or life, for that matter.
Or life, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, like, because I've been thinking about this a lot too. Recently, there was some legislation that I believe was passed or it was proposed, the filial laws, which states that if your parent is not wealthy enough or does not have enough assets to take care of themselves, that the child has to take care of the parent, like legally. And the thing about that is just like it's really interesting because then that this conversation of like chosen family, estrangement, cutting family members off comes up, and it's really interesting that just because I am blood related to this bitch means that I have to be responsible for them, or just there is always that narration of, well, but that's your family. That's your family.
Yeah.
And me as a trans person, as a gay person, as a queer person, I was estranged from my family for years. And I'm still very much estranged from my dad. The only time I have to see him is 15 minutes on Thanksgiving and Christmas. But it's that thing of like, oh, I will not fucking hesitate now. Like, I will not hesitate. Because the fact of the matter is, it's how you place meaning and value onto your relationships. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that I like my mom now. I'm glad that I kind of like my brother now. Because they've changed a lot of shit about them. We were estranged for a while. But, like, it's like, no, what the fuck? I'm not gonna, why would, like, I just, like, simplify it. Just bare bones it. Yeah. Do you like this person?
Is this person? I think we've just reached a point where like such homophobia and such transphobia is violent, and
it is.
It's by you still like upholding your relationship and being like, oh yeah, like they don't think trans people are real, but that's my dad. Like, yeah, it's violent.
You were co-signing on like hate speech at that point.
You are, yeah, and by being like, oh well. My dad.
And that's The Gab. Tune in next week. We drop episodes every Sunday. You can stream us on YouTube and Spotify, and you can follow us on TikTok and Instagram. See you next week.